Hello, everyone. Today is August the 1st, 2021. Psych 2022. You know, each day has gone by so very fast, and all the things that we are experiencing through this pandemic have been just life changing. I'm here to say that oftentimes things that are life changing could have some really positive impact. We here at Voter Education 365, we want to first say thank you. Thank you. Yesterday was our inaugural kickoff event to invite the community that we live in to an event that would bring all different types of groups together, to ask questions of one another, to be able to find out and feel comfortable in an environment asking questions about voting. That's not something you just find. So what we did was we kind of paired it with a barbecue, a good old-fashioned barbecue with plenty of good food, good friends, new acquaintances. And we had an amazing time navigating the passage that we have now charted. And it's been an awesome undertaking, very awesome. The idea of Voter Education 365 was conceived many, many years ago. It was a way to educate college students that I tried to develop uh, all about anything under the guise and the subject of voting. Sort of a voting 101. Working with college students for over 32 years was what I call my fountain of youth, my foundation in being able to have conversations with any generation, no matter what generation that I was born in. So we met, we incorporated, we've received our 501c designation, and we are partnering with entities from all over the country. We have been very, very, very fortunate to be able to meet with individuals that are very like-minded. We've got, as we spoke about last week, we've gone to conferences. We've met individuals that we will be partnering with. But more importantly, we've been spreading the word and the information about voting. We were able to share yesterday in our inaugural kickoff event how to check your voting, how to look up whether or not you are an active voter or whether or not you're an inactive voter, and find out why. But to have plenty of time in order to correct it. So we have to start each time until we're able to just, for you to see us and just say, oh, that's Voter Education 365. They're just doing their thing. So before we do that, we just want to, again, speak a little bit about what our mission statement is. And as we speak about the mission, and of course, missions are always formulated, and then we try to make sure that we're working within that mission. But if we find that there are some things that we need to add or take away, we kind of created an opportunity for it to be broad in scope, so we'll be able to do specific things. So follow me for another moment as we again state what our written mission is for Voter Education 365 Incorporated. We will strive to provide voters with the tools to overcome all barriers and any and all hurdles that have historically prohibited comprehensive voter participation. We will spearhead and have spearheaded efforts to educate the masses in order to help them develop a clear understanding that every aspect of their lives are impacted by voting. We will encourage active participation by all in all local, regional, and national elections. We will work to eliminate fragmented dissemination of information related to voting policies, practices, and procedures. We will empower individuals with the knowledge and the capability to combat voter suppression. We will fervently publicize the fact that all politics are local. We cannot state that enough. We will cultivate ambassadors of voting charged with mobilizing their communities to engage in all political processes. We want to motivate them and encourage individuals and their neighbors to pay it forward and to inspire others to do that very same thing. We want to make sure that as individuals register, they understand about checking, but then they mobilize. They have to mobilize like minded individuals to be able to go out and vote together. Discuss what's the platform? What are these candidates talking about? What are they speaking about, and how can they help you? Well, tonight we have on tap two individuals that are busier than I don't know how to describe how busy these individuals are. But what I'm going to do as we look to make sure that we provide you with information that is not only fact based, but has a humanistic nature. So tonight we have invited the Legal Defense Fund. And the Legal Defense Fund is America's premier legal organization fighting for racial justice. Using the power of the law, narrative, research, and the people, they defend and advance the full dignity of citizenship of Black people in America. That's what they were founded upon. They are also a 501c3 non-profit organization. Victor Dempsey serves as a community organizer at the LDF. Prior to joining the LDF, Mr. Dempsey was a community organizer at the Legal Aid Society. Being a organizer at the Legal Aid Society, excuse me, I need some water. He was an advocate and has a national scope. His community, at the heart of his advocacy and his activism, was the tragic loss of his brother, Delron Small, who was killed at the hands of an off-duty police officer in Brooklyn, New York, in 2016. As victims of police brutality, Mr. Dempsey and his family found themselves in a fearless pursuit of justice. They began working with organizations devoted to ending police violence, speaking out at public events and demonstrations to help raise awareness till Delron's case, while also shining a light on the underlying social injustices plaguing this country. Mr. Dempsey and his family are still fighting for justice in Delron's case, but they all believe that standing in solidarity with other families who have suffered police brutality helps strengthen their collective call for justice. Mr. Dempsey also is an advocate and has a national scope as he continues to assist and support other families and communities impacted by police violence. To this end, he founded Families Are the Front Lines, a support and advocacy group composed of families impacted by police brutality. He is devoted to telling his life story to inspire positive structural change for all. Mr. Dempsey's activism extends beyond police brutality, of course, and includes building and supporting numerous coalitions such as dismantling the gang violence database, automatic expungement and Clean Slate New York, and Safer New York Act. For some, starting a new job can be difficult, but for the longtime Riverhead Councilwoman, Jodi Giglio, who is our second guest, the transition to the state assembly has been seamless. Jodi committed herself to serving her community years ago and has earned a reputation as a hard worker and a tireless advocate for Eastern Long Island. It is a work ethic that serves her well when she goes to Albany, as the change in landscape does not change the local issues she pledged to address. With a resume of success in the business world, Jodi knows what it takes for her constituents to both survive and thrive the COVID era. She has been a tireless advocate for getting children back to school and reopening the economy. She fights the heavy burden of wasteful government spending, taxes, fees, mandates, and put an enormous strain on an enormous strain on local businesses and taxpayers. She can be counted on as a loud and persistent voice for the rural East End in a state dominated by urban interests. Jodi's at the forefront of an effort to repeal the new bail laws that made a mockery of criminal justice system. She supports law enforcement and law and order. Public safety is an ongoing concern of her constituents, and they know that she will make and defend what she needs to defend. As a town official for 10 years, Jodi's initiative saved the taxpayers millions of dollars by reinventing government services and eliminating wasteful spending. She was behind implementation of special code enforcement software to manage permits, inspections, violations. Now, why am I giving you all of this information? These are the people that have sent in and said that they're going to be a part of our panel. They want to make sure that their voices are heard equally. As a member of the Assembly, Jodi has expanded her role to target the state's crumbling infrastructure. Ooh, we know how potholes are here. So when we bring these individuals to talk to you, we want you to know what they lord over and how it is that you and why you should contact them for specific reasons. Why do you contact the legislator? Why do you contact an assembly person? Why do you contact a state senator? And why do you contact a congressperson? She also is environmentally sound. She spearheaded the preservation of 2,000 acres of local farmland and more than 200 acres of open space, as well as the completion of the 10-mile recreation trail and birder stand in Calverton, which became the foundation for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Trail. My dad's buried out in Calverton, my dad and mom. She put forth legislation to prevent water pollution through upgraded sanitary systems and created a recycling fund and material tracking program. And I could go on and on about the two people who have said that they were going to be on with us today. Now, sometimes people, you'll understand and you'll see that scheduling makes for interesting bedfellows. So with that, we're going to talk about Dominique, are you on? You never know who is logged in. I will publicly, I usually do this at the end, but I'm going to do it now because both Dominique and Smiley are invaluable to bringing this to the forefront. We have our pits and our valleys, our highs and our hires. And then we have a show to put on. So right now, I don't know or believe that either of our two guests have made it to the studio. But that doesn't stop us from moving forward and making sure that you all know what's important with Voter Education 365. You know how they say the show must go on? Well, the show must go on. Today is August the 1st. We have 22 days before the next primary here in New York. Everyone may not be viewing us from New York, but today we'll specifically talk about New York and the primary that is going to be a congressional primary as well as a state senatorial primary that is taking place on August the 23rd. We want you all to make sure that you check your voter registration status. We say it every week. And why is it important for us to say it every week? At our event that we had yesterday, we showed individuals how to check their voter registration. We showed them how to be an instrument to help others check their voter registration. We found that many people did not know how easy it was to make sure that this was in place prior to you coming to the polls on election day. We want to make sure today that we also let you know that in Suffolk County, and I'm drilling into Suffolk now, Suffolk County, there are going to be 20 polling places instead of the 26 that we did have for the June primary. Those 20 locations will be able to take anyone that lives in Suffolk County, and you're able to vote there. Voting begins on August the 13th, which is a Saturday, and runs through August the 21st. which is a Sunday. There are varied days with different hours. So the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, the polls will be open from 10 to 6. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. On Tuesday and Wednesday, the polls open at 7 a.m. until 3 p.m. On Thursday and Friday, the polls are open from 12 a.m., 12 p.m. rather, to 8 p.m. And then going back to the Saturday and Sunday schedule, where you can go to vote from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Now, those give you 9 hours a day. It may be varied hours, but that's to accommodate all the individuals out here that have different work schedules. Some people work the first, second, or third shift. Some people work 2 of those 3 shifts. So there's a way that you can then be able to go in and vote as early or as late as you need to during that time. We want to also encourage you to go on election day if you have not felt comfortable going with early voting. I'm here to tell you, I believe early voting is the wave. The lines are shorter. You're still able to vote on a machine. You have an opportunity to have a discussion. But prior to going to that election, we want you to research the candidates. By emailing us at votereducation365@gmail.com, you will then we'll be able to send to you directly information about who are the candidates so you can look up what those candidates are about. Now remember, we are nonpartisan. So the information that we give you is for you to then take and to then research and do additional deeper dives. Now, as we get our website up and running, then we'll be able to have clickable links for you on our website. But like I said, we're a brand new fledgling organization that won't be so fledgling for so much longer. We are, every week, we're putting together additional information so that once we do have the website to a point where you can actually have your clickable links, it'll be such an ease. But before we go any further, August the 23rd is looked at right now as a date that we might not have a huge turnout. And the only reason we won't have a huge turnout is if each of you do not do your civic duty and go out and vote. Voting isn't something that people just should do because they feel compelled that their forefathers did it before them. But voting is your way to educational knowledge about health, transportation, the environment. So many different avenues all come through voting. We want you to also make sure that you vote in the next year's school board elections, as well as the library elections. We find we've had discussions with individuals that have complained about the taxes that they have to pay from library and school taxes. Now, I'm one of 11 children, and we understand that when we were in school, the taxes that our parents paid were there to help all students. But then we also realized that as my parents became older and we all became tax-paying individuals, that we were then paying it forward. So someone always is paying it forward for whatever students are in school. So the conversations that we've had were to help people understand that you may not have children in the school system now, but when you did have children in the school system, someone had paid prior to your arrival to make sure that they were taken care of in your school district. So look at it from that perspective. The library. The library is open to all for all. The library, in my estimation, is very, very underutilized. But if individuals were to vote in the library board and the school board, and run for offices, run to be a member of the library board, run to be a member of the school board. If you don't win the first time, run again. Make sure that your platform, whatever you're passionate about, When my daughter was younger, we would take her to the library all the time. The library is now one of her safe havens. She loves to go and take a walk and go to the library, take out a book. She was a young person at 6 and 7 years old, reading to younger children. She had the ability to learn to read, uh, or the aptitude rather, to learn to read early. And so she was reading to little kids while she was a little kid. That helped confidence. That helped individuals who brought their children to the library who may not have had that type of an educational system set up. They also had opportunities where they would compete against other schools on trivia, all kinds of trivia. And their team competed all over Suffolk County. And they won, I think, 3 of the 4 years that she participated. They won first place in Suffolk County. Now, why is that important? Because the funds that we pay and how we then vote in our library for our library board, that dictates the programs that they offer. So when the summer and when holidays come around and your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews, your godchildren, or whoever you lord over, if they don't have things to do in that library because funding was not there, think about how that is directly related to voting. Look at the school system. The school system, yes, they have a PTA, but they also have a school board. A school board, and they lord over most everything that happens in the school. So if you do not attend those meetings, I don't suggest that you just run for something just to run because you just want to run. But I want you to learn about them. Then you'll find that the similarities are undeniably on your side, that your ideas can be furthered with a larger audience. That's all related to voting. Then we talk about how individuals, when there's a school board election, there are individuals that can also work the election. Suffolk County, and today again my focus was on Suffolk County. Suffolk County has a huge deficit of election inspectors, and every single day we're looking for more. We in our community should be able to move to that level where we can then refer individuals to work for the Board of Elections. I think that when we have these discussions, it's only around election day. And by then it's, you think it's too late, but it's never too late. So we want these conversations to be, as our name implies, voter education 365. So if we're constantly here on Monday evenings, we accept many, many opportunities to go and speak at local events, whether virtually or in person. We have brought voter registration forms. We have educated individuals about the new law allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to pre-register to vote. And that way, upon their 18th birthday, they then are automatically enrolled and are able to vote. We educate individuals constantly about individuals who are formerly felons or who have formerly been incarcerated, and how all of their life they thought that they were never going to be able to vote again. And then we showed them how that is so patently wrong, because there's another new law. That's the key. Things change, laws change. We want to make sure that the community evolves with the laws. We want to make sure that all the information that you think you know can be factually checked so that you can then move forward in your life in a way that's effortless and easy, and then educate others. Today, if you have been incarcerated and you are no longer incarcerated, you can register to vote. In the past, you had to wait until you finished your parole, and then it was a case by case basis. In New York State, that is no longer the law. Points like this are what make it so very interesting for us and make us feel as though there are 365 days in a year, and then there's leap year with another day. But we want to talk about voting every day. We want you to think as voting as just like everything else you do every day, just like brushing your teeth. So please send us comments, topics, ideas of guest speakers, as well as what you really want to know. Because you never get an opportunity to answer all the questions because no one knows all the questions. Does that make sense to you? You don't know what you don't know, so how are you going to ask a question about it? So that's why it's important to attend forums and listen to different speakers and then fact check them to make sure that we're sharing information to you that is accurate. Before each show, we go on and make sure that if there's something new that has come up, that we're going to be able to present it. We're vacillating and toying every now and again with how do we present it on screen? Do we just create the links and make sure that we have clickable links on our website? So as we navigate this passage that we spoke about earlier, all of those questions we answer every day, but we need your help. We need to know what else is it that you need to know. We want to make sure that as we talk to each generation, male, female, every ethnic background, as well as any party, we're nonpartisan. We just want to bring the facts out to help you make the best decision you can make. But the first decision we want you to make is that decision to register. The second one is to educate yourself on who the candidates are and how does that align with your life, your platforms. And then we want you to mobilize the family, your community, your circle of friends to be able to all have a discussion, calm. You don't have to all believe the same thing, but everything should be a nice, calm discussion about what's important to you. You might be a person who loves climate, who knows that climate change is real. Another person may say it's not real. But if you discuss it in a factual base and talk about the way we've grown up and what we've seen and where we're going and what the scientists say, your discussion can really evolve. You may also want to talk about policing, whether to keep all funding going to police, whether to divert some funding to having social workers work with police. What are your ideas? I like to make sure that you feel empowered as just a person who's just born to have an opinion, but make sure your opinion is fact-based so that when you're speaking your truth, the people that are hearing you can fact check you and make sure that you're giving information that's helpful. We never want to give harmful information. So I think with that said, that was a half an hour show that we would normally have, and we would have had 15 minutes for our guests. So if we don't have anybody making any comments on Facebook or YouTube, on any of the channels, I'm going to ask my producers, do you guys have any questions that I need to that you can put in the chat that I can then discuss? Thank you so very much. These are your voting locations for Suffolk County starting August the 13th. I'll say where they are because sometimes viewing this may be a little hard on your eyes, but I will say take a screenshot. Screenshots are your friend. Take a screenshot so that way I'm actually going to take a screenshot right now. So I'll see what it looks like since I'm asking you guys to take a screenshot. Let me fix my clothes here. The first location we'll discuss is in Windmill Village. That's 219 Accabonac Road in East Hampton. And remember, if you are out at the wineries or the museum in the on the East End, you can vote during early voting as a resident of Suffolk County. You can vote in any voting location. I wanted to make sure I said that clearly. Stony Brook University Southampton campus, 70 Tuckahoe Road in Southampton. Southold Senior Center, 75 Pacific Street in Mattituck, New York. Kings Park High School, 200 East Main Street in Kings Park. Nesconset Elementary School, 54 Browns Road in Nesconset. Shelter Island Youth Recreation Center, 1 Bateman Road on Shelter Island. My daughter said she wants to go to Shelter Island. We'll have to take the boat over. Dix Hills Fire Department, 115 East Deer Park Road, Dix Hills. Wyandanch Public Library, 14 South 20th Street in Wyandanch. Greenlawn Fire Department, 23 Boulevard Avenue in Greenlawn, New York. The Babylon Town Hall Annex, 281 Phelps Lane, North Babylon. The West Islip Senior Center, 90 Higby Lane, West Islip, New York. The Henrietta Ancampora Center, 39 Montauk Highway. That's in Blue Point. Bohemia Recreation Center, 1 Ruzecki Way in Bohemia. Rose Caracappa Senior Center, 739 New York 25A. That's in Mount Sinai. Brookhaven Town Hall, 1 Independence Hill in Farmingville, New York. The Knights of Columbus in the town of Islip, 96 2nd Avenue, Brentwood, New York. Islip Town Hall Annex, 401 Main Street, Islip, New York. Mastic Ambulance Company, 1630 Montauk Highway, Mastic, New York. The Riverhead Senior Center, 60 Shade Tree Lane, in Aquabog, New York. And the Huntington Public Library, the Station Branch, 1335 New York Avenue in Huntington Station, New York. That crisscrosses North Shore, South Shore, all of our areas in Suffolk County. Make sure you remember that this information can be seized and easily viewed on the website for the Board of Elections. You can also go to www.electionsny.gov. So we have a Facebook user that's asking a question. Could we have a Meet the Candidates that doesn't directly address an issue per se, but speaks to who each candidate is as a person and how they solve critical issues or support various ideals by asking non-traditional questions? Absolutely. Yesterday in our inaugural voter education event, we said we're going to do it twice yearly. One in the summer prior to the primaries, and one in the fall prior to the general election. At both of those locations, exactly what you've asked is what we've asked for individuals to come on the show and talk about. We've given them an opportunity to discuss who they are, their issues, where are you from? How long have you been in politics? We want to know what your platform is and how, if you have been in office, how have you worked towards making your platform a reality? Or is it still just a platform? So yes, please know that these type questions are what we're trying to answer and what we're trying to bring forth to all of the community. So I didn't see the name of the person, but that's fine. But absolutely. So stay tuned because that's next. Early voting sites for the primary election. These are not, we told you the locations, But now these are the dates and the times. Now I said it earlier, but this is another opportunity for you to take a screenshot on your phone, or take your phone out and take a copy. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the polls open at 10 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. That's an increase in hours on the weekend than there was last year. Last year they closed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This time, you still can run your errands in the morning on Saturday and go vote. You can go to church on Sunday and then bring all the souls to the polls on Sunday afternoon immediately after church. Tuesday and Wednesday, for those people who have early hours, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. are the voting hours. And again, each day it's 8 solid hours of voting. Thursday and Friday, for those people who may work a little later or go in a little later, you can vote from 12 noon to 8 p.m. And then finally, we circle back to the last weekend, and that takes you again to the 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is critical. Your information and your input is critical in knowing and making sure that New York State sees and hears what you say. New York State heard you. They increased the voting locations. Last year, there were 13. This year for the primary, there were 26 for the first election. But be mindful, there were two major changes for these primaries during June. The first one was that the primary was originally scheduled for the 21st of June. And then it was changed to the 28th of June. Secondly, upon changing the primaries, then we found, because of a variety of causes that we will not go into today, there are now two. I was going to say were, but one happened and one is yet to happen. Two primaries. So now this primary, as I stated earlier, is going to focus on Congress and state senators. The last one was for state assembly and gubernatorial. So your voice was cast there. So please, please, if you are going away on vacation and you're not leaving until the 14th, vote on the 13th. If you've gone away for August 1st and you'll be back on the 20th, vote on the 21st. The day of the election is still there for you to vote. But for me, that should be if you have not been able to vote any of the other days. Now, there's been a lot of changes with absentee voting. So I'll just say this in a very basic way. Absentee voting is quite different. If you request an absentee ballot and you turn your ballot in, that's great. But if you request an absentee ballot, it's going to be assumed that you're going to mail that ballot in. So you're not going to be able to vote on a machine during early voting after having requested an absentee ballot. So unless you are infirmed and know that you need an absentee ballot and that you're not going to then try to go in and vote in person, please, by all means. But early voting is here for you. 9 full days. And that with that number of hours, and then on election day, those election inspectors are there for 16 and 17 hours, making sure that each of you are able to exercise your right to vote. So please consider research, check your registration, and come back to our show and ask us questions. We love being able to answer your questions. And we love to be able to make sure that the questions that are asked, that in our next show, we give you the dates that those events will take place. We make sure that we email anyone that has requested any information from us. We email them. So please, I say please so much, because it's such a great feeling to be able to vote, see the fruits of your labor, See the parks flourish after you voted for more monies to be poured into parks, to see how the roads have been enhanced when you have voted to increase budgeting, to see how the schools then are able to buy additional books because of the additional funding the schools have, the additional funding that they've gotten through voting, to see the libraries flourish, to see the libraries be able to expand and have building outward so that they can accommodate more people. Because during the pandemic, a lot of people did access virtually a lot of the libraries. The library system was inundated in a positive way. You know, it's great when you get more business. So voting runs the gamut. Please come back and share your thoughts with us. We are always looking to make sure that we educate one person at a time. I want to say thank you. Do we have any other slides that we want to put up before we thank our viewing audience? And we encourage them to invite someone to watch it on YouTube or on Facebook. We also need you all to go to Voter Education 365 on Facebook. Join our wonderful, wonderful group. And then, so that we can have our own YouTube channel, that we can have our name changed and be able to give you one link that you'll always be able to find us. We need at least another 150 people to join our YouTube page. Won't you join us? Tell a friend. Come back and visit us again. I am Deborah Payton-Jones. It is my pleasure to be here with you every week. Sometimes we say that we're going to tape a show, but we've not done it yet. But get ready. We want the youth to be here with us. We have some people on tap. Schedules may change, but the show must go on. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Smiley. Thank you, Dominique. Without you guys, this would be impossible. Thank you, Kira with an I and Kira with an E. Thank you, Tariq. And thank you to my husband, Joe.